What makes you buy a book? Is it the cover? Is it the author? Is it somebody recommending it to you? Or could it be that after you've read the blurb, you have to turn the book to the first line and see where the story's going to take you? I know so many people who will open a book, read that first line, some people I do know read the last, and decide if that book is for them or not. So today I thought, let's pick some of the books from my shelf, read the first line, and see would it make me want to read the book? I personally know if I'm going to like a book from its cover, and I know that's the opposite of what you should do in life, but I do judge a book by its cover. So let's dive in and see if that first sentence is a game changer or not. Let's start with In Stormy Weather by Chelsea Curto. This is a brand new release that's just come out this week. If you love her DC Star series, point in the wrong way, Mills. If you love her DC Star series, this is a new series she's starring. I initially thought it was going to be a standalone, but I think there's going to be more to it. If you're a STEM romance fan, so you love your love hypothesis, anything in that kind of world, then this one will definitely be for you. So let's open it up to that first sentence and see would it convince me to read the book or not. God damn the universe and its attempts to keep me humble. Oh, I quite like that, you know. It makes me think, what's making her humble? What is the universe doing? Obviously, it focuses around the storm. Is it the fact that she's getting loads of storms, no storms? Why does she need to be humbled? I like that. I've read this book, but I like that as a first sentence. It's not too in your face for romance. It's not telling you where the story's going to go. It's just a small nod at maybe this girl's a little bit arrogant. You don't know. You can't tell too much from the character from that. But yeah, I do like that. I think that's a really good one. I do know this book is very fun and it's such an easy read. And I'm wondering if we go between romance, fantasy, and crime, are we going to find that different sentences entice us more? So let's pick a couple more romance books to compare this to. I mean, we have to do a Catherine Cowles. I feel like if anybody's going to get their first sentence spot on, the fact that this is romantic suspense, there's normally a little bit of crime, thriller element to it, that'll be a good test to see is she the best at this. So Fragile Sanctuary has a lot of trauma. I remember the first chapter making me cry. But what does the first sentence do? Let's have a look. Find the first sentence is just as hard. What was it like, Fallon whispered, as the SUV bounced along the road? Hmm, that's not as captivating as I thought it would be. I thought Catherine Cowles was going to hit as hard. I know that the first chapter makes you cry, but I guess she's got to set the scene building up to the traumatic fire that happens in the first chapter. But I thought it was going to be a little bit more. I feel like she's let us down a little bit there. So far, I would say Chelsea Curto's winning, but this book I actually think I prefer. So it's about a girl whose family has all died in a terrible fire in the first chapter. Years later, she's going to renovate the house with her best friend's brother. And obviously, there's going to be some romantic interest, but she holds all this trauma. She hasn't been in the house and she literally had to throw herself out of a window to survive. And she could hear her family burning to death. Like, that's how traumatic that first chapter is. So I feel like Catherine Cowles let it down a little bit that first sentence. So maybe you wouldn't pick this one up if you were to read the first sentence. Now I'm going to pick a book I want to read. So this is the Tell Me series by Mercedes Ron. I love the Our Fault, My Fault, Your Fault series, the Culpable series. And I know that this has been adapted for screen as well. So she is a Spanish author, originally has written all these books in Spanish. They've been translated into English. And I'm thinking maybe the first sentence of this is going to hook me in because I know it's a love triangle with brothers. Are we going to indicate that in the first sentence or not? These are also really small books. So I feel like you've got to hit that impact early on. So let's see what the first sentence says. It's a prologue as well. So I don't know if that's like a flashback scene or what. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I had gotten up at midnight as we agreed. Well, I want to know more. That's worked for me. Because it was yesterday, she's still remembering it. It is a flashback, and she'd gotten up at midnight. Why was she getting up at midnight? Who was she going to see? The fact I know it's a love triangle between brothers. Which brother is she going to? Ooh, ooh, that is a good one. That is a good one. I think the answer is, having done 3 romance books, maybe romance isn't the book's best first sentence. Maybe we'll do some crime and fantasy and think actually they get that first sentence spot on. But I like this one the most out of the ones read. Let's do one more. Let's do one more to see if we can beat it. I'm going to have a good think about what's on the shelves behind me and pick something great. Okay, I think we've got to do a cowboy romance. So this is the Willow Ridge series. This is Live Ranch Love by Emma Lucy. This is the first in the series. It's a grumpy sunshine cowboy romance. I feel like often in the first chapter you meet the girl, she's quite romantic, and then the guy comes in the second chapter and he's really grumpy. And I love that kind of setup. But am I going to be like finding her as romantic and cutesy in this first sentence? Let's see. Let's see. So this is Aurora's chapter. Whenever I watch my favourite Christmas film, Love Actually, hate that film, growing up, I always hoped I'd end up like Keira Knightley, with a street Andrew Lincoln confessing his love to me on handwritten cards. Or maybe I'd be Martine McCutcheon caught snogging the sexy Prime Minister who hopefully looks like a young Hugh Grant. But it turns out I'm bloody Colin Firth. Okay, I do like that. I do like that. It's telling you her romantic life isn't that great. She has all these dreams of what it could be like, but actually she's Colin Firth. I think that's a really good. Okay, this is the best. This for romance readers. I'm not a big fan of Love Actually, but a lot of romance readers I imagine are. It kind of tunes into that. You know from the story starting point, she's a woman out of love. It's giving Bridget Jones vibes. Yes, that is the perfect first sentence. We did it. We found the perfect first sentence in the romance book. And that one definitely is it. I feel like I really want to read this series, and that's made me want to pick it up more because this is on our book club for August. So I feel like that's going to be a really good pick now. Now it's time to try fantasy. Now, with fantasy, you often meet the female main character in the first chapter, or something dramatic happens. I feel like fantasy really hits you with that character emotion. I'm currently reading This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me, and I'm absolutely loving the description on this book. I don't know if this first line is going to win it for me or not because it is such a descriptive book. You're being like transported into a world that she's read, and she's reliving this world and changing some of the outcomes, and she can't be killed. And I feel like it's probably one of the most descriptive books I've ever read in fantasy. There is a lot of description, not as much dialogue, which is nice to switch it up occasionally. But will that first sentence win me over? Rain drenched the city, cold and relentless. No. The answer is no. I don't know what the city is. It's cold. You know that she's been dropped somewhere cold, and that's all you know. I do know that first chapter when I read this book did take me a lot longer to get into, so that doesn't surprise me that the first sentence of this wouldn't win me over with it. Does not surprise me one bit, but I am really enjoying this. So maybe you shouldn't always judge it by its first sentence. Let's try and find another fantasy book to see if we can win. Okay, we have The Assassin's Way by J.M. Curl. I absolutely adored this book. It's vampires done a little bit differently. She finds out that she is Dakai, which means she can actually fight vampires. She's taken from her family, from her small town, and she is trained to be an assassin. The plot twist in this happens around a third to halfway through the book, which I absolutely loved because you're not waiting for the plot twist to happen near the end. And now I'm waiting for book two, and I'm a little bit feral. But I do love a vampire book, so I feel like, are we going to have a good first sentence? I was going to die if I didn't get my hand out of this hole. That's very good. So I know the scene. She's putting her hand in a hole to get the gold, and obviously the sun is setting, the vampires are coming to get her. But that gives you a little bit of like, well, why is her hand in this hole? What's going to kill her? Why would she die? It has you asking more questions that you're going to keep reading that paragraph. I feel like J.M. Curl smashed it with that one. Absolutely smashed it. Maybe a vampire one's a little bit easier to do. Obviously, the other one I did preface with the fact that it is more whimsical and descriptive, whereas this one is definitely more action. Let me find some more fantasy books to see if we can get one as good as this. Okay, we have A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly by Sophia St. Germain. This is the compelling fate saga. This one definitely gives ACOTAR vibes. It's a completed series at least. And if you love Fae, you're going to be obsessed with this. So let's have a look. I feel like she owes a debt to her king. I can't remember how this starts, but is it focusing around the past or the present? The noise in the packed tavern was unbearable. You know she's in a tavern. Would this make me want to continue reading? Probably not, I'm going to be honest. This book was actually really good. So I feel like that sentence lets it down, but it is setting the scene of where she is and the task she's set out to carry. And then this book, she does start to question herself a lot. So I think you can't start with her questioning herself. You've got to build up to that moment. But would this have made me pick that book up? Maybe not. The cover would, though. And this is why I do judge a book by its cover. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, would that first sentence have won me over? No. But also with fantasy, the map will. If there's a map, it does win me over. Right, let's find one more to see if we can find a better one than the Assassin's Way. I feel like maybe something witchy. because witches could beat vampires. So I feel like if I'm going to do something, so Spellcaster is part of the Weatherstone College series by Jamin Eve. It's about a girl who goes off to college. She doesn't know what type of magic she has, and when she gets there, her father's sworn enemy's son is also attending the same college, and everybody tells her to stay away from him. Everybody says it's a little bit dangerous being where she is. So I think this one could have a good start. I'm trying to remember how it started. That's the funny thing. Ragged breaths caught in my chest as I stumbled along the hallway, footfalls quiet against the carpet, which absorbed the blood dripping from my side. That's good. Why is there blood dripping from her side? Obviously, she's in the college. What's happened to her in the college? You're about to then flash into the fact that it could be her father's sworn enemy's child that's attacking her. I think that is probably the best sentence to start. Oh, I don't know. Assassin's Whale, this one, they're both on par. But maybe paranormal fantasy goes a little bit more in with the action to begin with because they are more action-based books. So I feel like that's a really good one. Now let's try some crime. Of course, when it comes to crime, we have to talk about Lisa Jewell. This is It Could Have Been Her. I believe this is continuing on from her previous book that she wrote. I haven't read this one yet. It is going to be a book club pick for August, so I am excited to give this a go. And I didn't love the last Lisa Jewell book I read, which is why I picked this one up to see if the first sentence, oh, it is stunning inside, would win me over. I didn't know it had end papers. I just picked this up the other day, but that would win it over for me. That is pretty. Okay, so it was Don't Let Him In was the one I think this is related to. I liked the girl. That might be the shortest first sentence we've ever had. No, I really wanted that one to have a little bit more punch. I like the girl. Who's the girl? Why'd you like her? It would still make me read it because I like short sentences and they are going, like you can see there's a few short sentences in that first chapter, but I know nothing from that. Absolutely nothing. I wonder if fantasy's going to be my favourite then. Let's try another crime book to see if we can get something a little bit more engaging. Now we have Shari LaPena's newest book, Getting Away with Murder. I just recently read her most recent book and it was She Didn't See It Coming, which was my favourite book that I read in the month of June. Maybe one of my favourite crime books that I've actually read this year. So I'm really excited to read this one. She loves her husband, but she might love their house more. I feel like Shari LaPena is an author who does psychological thriller. So let's see what her first sentence... Oh, there's a map as well. Let's see what her first sentence is. She isn't someone who normally goes for impact to begin with. She builds that impact. He said it would be the perfect day for it. What's it? Why would it be the perfect day? Who is he? I like that. I like that. That gives me a few more questions. Obviously somebody's trying to get away with murder, so you're like, is it the perfect day for murder? Is he trying to convince her to murder somebody? I feel like you're going to get a lot with that. But he said it would be the perfect day for it. Oh, I do like that. I do like that. That's winning for me so far. Shari LaPena is just such a great author. If you haven't read her as well, everything I've read by her, I've given 5 stars and needed to read more. So I absolutely love No One Saw a Thing by Andrea Mara. It's about a woman who's on the train with her 2 girls. One of them gets off and just the train moves. She goes back to try and find her. She's disappeared. She's nowhere to be seen. And obviously set in London with the tube. It's really creepy. You don't often get psychological thrillers set in England in a way that you can picture it as easily. They do tend to be more of an American situation, or maybe that's just the ones I read. Lisa Jewell does set hers, but she doesn't tend to focus too much on location, or she makes locations not the big part of the story. So I remember loving this because it was like 2 children got on, only one of them got off. If only Sive hadn't told the girls to run ahead. Oh, that is good. That's prefacing where the story's going to go. It's kind of setting the scene of like the fact that they've run ahead, they get on the train, she's lost one. Like, you know, if you'd read the blurb from this, where that was going to take you. I feel like that is a perfect first sentence. It's saying like she's at fault, she's going to blame herself. You can kind of see the foreshadowing of where the story's going to go just with that sentence. I think that's absolutely amazing. Okay, one more crime. Let's see if we can get a better one than that. This is also on my TBR, so I have never read anything by Megan Lally, but you've probably seen this cover everywhere because I have. I cannot escape this cover at the moment, so I have picked up a few Megan Lally books to see if I like them or not. She thought she had her life back. She was wrong. The cover's creepy. I'm guessing it's psychological thriller. So I feel like this one could be a good one. It's also quite a floppy book, which I love. Things like that would win it for me more than the first sentence. Day 1, and then obviously I'll start the first sentence. I think I might be dead. How can you think and be dead? Or do you think someone's about to like remove you from the world and kill you? I like that. That's my favorite. I think I might be dead because that makes me question, are you dead? Are you buried alive underground? What's happening? Is someone after you? Ooh, I love it. I love it. That one is a big winner for me. 100% would read that book based on that first sentence. And I am going to read the book based on the first sentence. So there you have it. Let me know in the comments if you judge a book by its cover, if you judge a book by its author, if you judge a book by its blurb, or if you're now going to judge a book by its first sentence, because I think I found a new favourite thing to do. And there are some really good first sentences. I love it. Make sure you've hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you're notified when I post every Sunday. But let me know in the comments your favourite first sentence of a book now if you do have one, because I think there's going to be some good ones to collect. Happy reading and see you guys next Sunday.